long time, I was scared to share my true color, to be who I truly was. I was hiding in the story I was reading, fearful of what people would think about me. But this ends now. I have stopped running. I decide to accept my diversity. Today, I will share our story of neurodiversity and mental health awareness. Welcome on the ADHD Melly Show. Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well this Friday. I'm so excited for this new show. We're going to talk about barrier to create accessible content with DeeJae. I'm so excited to have her today. Like I've been part of her show in December and it was so amazing, so I can't wait to talk to her again today. I just want to do a little disclaimer. This is a show that is about real life, so you may hear dog, kids, or even cats in this show because unfortunately that's the thing that happens, and be aware of that. It's okay, and we're in live and anything can happen today. So I can't wait to share with you this new story today. So welcome, DeeJae. How are you today?
Oh, good. It's Friday. I'm so
Yes,
happy.
it is.
Thank you for inviting me and us always having amazing conversations on things we're so passionate about,
Yes.
mental health and disability and bringing awareness and helping individuals just have a little more understanding.
Exactly, and I'm so excited. Like I said, now I have a new ring light too for my camera, so I was a little bit shaking like that because my ring light is in front of my screen. So if you see me like this, you know why. Who's here today? I want to know who's on the live, so I can just say hi to you. So if you're in today, just say a comment, just say hi. I want to know who's here. Hello, Anna. She's always here. I'm so happy you're here again today.
Hi, Juana.
It's so amazing to have you following me and being to almost all of my shows. I'm so excited to talk about another serious conversation with fun because it's important to talk about the serious thing, right? But at the same time, we have to make it a little bit fun at the same time to spread awareness, etc., etc.
Yes, absolutely, Ellie. I agree. That's something I always love to say, that when we talk about difficult things or barriers that we have, challenges that are constant in our lives, we have to find ways to talk about it in a, upbeat way and really just make it fun, because sometimes it's hard to talk about those things like suicide awareness, but it's important to talk about it and be who we are as people, and those are things that can affect our lives and we can relate to in some way, and having that conversation is what's going to make everyone a little bit hopefully able to understand and help someone else, right? They don't know who's next to them. So I love talking about
Exactly.
it with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you know Key D is here today. He wrote a comment
Kate,
today. So I
what's
don't know
up?
if I don't know. He's on your stream right now. He's on your own social, so you probably know him.
Yes. Thank you. I haven't heard from him in a minute. It's been a while.
So
KJ.
thank you so much for being here to discover my channel at the same time. That's why I like when my guests share my show on their own social, because other people can see it, and it's so excited to have new faces on the show too. And if you want, you can follow my YouTube channel too, and just have fun with that, and etc. etc. You can follow my Instagram. ADHD Melly is about for everything. So you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Twitch, you can find me mostly anywhere on the web. So that's really cool.
Oh no, Katie J. You have not. Do not. Really? Again? Oh, that is such a shame. Why would they hacked someone's account? What did you say? What happened? What reason did they give you? I'm curious.
That's a little bit why I'm on multiple social media, because I'm so scared that they're going to do this to me, because I'm talking about real thing, about neurodiversity, about mental health, and I see that a lot of people in that range getting
Yes.
banned all the time, and I'm just like, why do you not letting me talking about real stuff, guys? Why do you block me? I was lucky that never happened to me yet, but I've seen a lot that happen. Leah, that happened. KD's happening too, etc. So I'm saving myself in a safe place. So please follow me somewhere else than Lincoln, please. We never know.
Happened to me, so I am worried. I do think about stuff like that. Like, what is it going to be that they lock my account for? So, because sometimes we do talk about, again, these difficult things, and we have to be careful with what we say, of course. And I always tell people, hey, these are our experiences, these are our opinions. I always give a full disclosure, trigger warning, just in case, because you never know what you say that can really trigger someone else. And I always like to be sensitive.
Yeah.
I always like to give a visual descriptor. I don't know if I usually talk about this, and people have noticed that I give a visual descriptor for a visually impaired audience. I think that's one of those ways that it helps decrease the barrier to accessibility. But a visual descriptor of me is I'm DeeJae. I'm a Latina brunette with silver hair, and I have a big smile, and I'm wearing red lipstick. I have brown eyes, and today I'm wearing a red shirt and some hoopy earrings. So it really helps give someone that has a visual impairment a visual description of what you look like to really enhance their experience, to make them feel included. So there's a little something I always like to share with everyone and encourage everyone to kind of be mindful of that, and that it might help you. It might be something that you want to implement.
Sure, if I can do it. I have normally red hair, but they don't look really red on the camera. I have pink lips, blue eyes, and or like yellowish moutarde shirt on myself. I'm not really good to describe myself. That's maybe why I don't do it.
It's always the same description. You don't change what you look like unless you change your hair color or your lip color changes. But once you get comfortable with it, it just comes so natural, and you just get used to saying it. It takes less than 5 seconds. But it makes a world of difference in your accessibility and really being inclusive.
I'm trying to put subtitle, but the problem is because English is my second language. Sometimes they put something else that doesn't make any sense. So I need to just do it myself, and I'm working on it. But as I'm doing like 1 hour show, sometimes it's like very long to just writing down everything we are saying. So I have to find a new software that is better with non-native English speaker, because sometimes it's hard to have the same thing. That's the only problem that I have. And accessibility is difficult for me to put subtitle without any change, because it normally never makes sense.
Oh, okay. So trying to put captions, you mean in French?
No, I mean, that sometimes automatically they write what you're saying because of my accent. Sometimes they are going to write something else that doesn't make sense. So I've tried it out. It was not very good. So for now, I decided to stop it. But I'm going to try it again on YouTube. They can put caption on the thing, or simply ask maybe a friend or something that has the time loose to do that, because that's going to be very interesting to do it in the future. This is something that I want to invest in one day. And like I always say, it's cost a lot of money to do a show. You don't realize, you realize because you're doing it. But sometimes the public, you put a camera and you put a microphone, that's all. But there's a software, there's a camera that costs a lot of money, there's a microphone to have a decent sound, etc., and can build up. And you need a good computer as well, because if you see some of my other video, you will see that sometimes I have a beautiful blue screen on my computer while I was filming. So yeah.
I understand. It does take some money and investment to really produce something quality. And I think that's just another barrier to accessibility is the financial sense, where I've been in a situation where I've wanted to include captions in a video, but you have to pay for that if you use some let you give you X amount of minutes for free. But if you like to record lots of videos, eventually you're going to have to pay for that service to just have captions in your videos. So really, even the way you share like our finances and what it takes to just start streaming or start podcasting or just start, but then for me, I've run into the extra expenses on top of that to make the content accessible. So actually, that's just a wonderful observation I've made. And sometimes I don't understand why they want to profit so much off of that. It's unfortunate because that's really someone's way of communication, and there should be no barriers to that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm trying my best to look at the camera as much as I can. So if I don't have caption and somebody is deaf, at least they can try to read on my lips. Like I said, I'm a foreigner, so reading on my lips is not the same thing as somebody that their first language is English as well. So I'm trying my best. And yeah, some people don't realize, but just filming right now is $50 a month, just to be able to put the ADHD Melly show on the screen, because you have to pay for that. And even if I wanted to use a lot software to stream, you still need something to put the social media link in, and you have to pay for that. So voila. Everything you have to pay. And I've right to restream. Can you put the price a little bit down, because I don't make any money of doing this. I just want to do awareness. I want to be inclusive. I want to try my best. And I'm not necessarily a business right now. I don't make money. So please, can you put it down? The only thing they could do is 20% off. It's better than nothing, but it's still $50 that I pay with that 20% off. Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's really when you're trying to be a new creator and you're trying to do things from the get-go inclusively, you're learning things, you're trying to learn systems and processes. And I find that there's barriers on every platform to be inclusive. So then you have to take the time to figure that out. How many steps does it take to put an alt text in your Instagram photos? If you're doing 5 photos in a carousel, that's 5 alt texts. So taking the time to do that is important. And then just like even figuring it out on Twitch, right? Making sure the captions. Now, Juana makes a good comment about she uses her Google Chrome in the settings, and you can set the auto caption. So that comes from your own Google Chrome or the web browser. So in that sense, she's using her browser, but that's her as a consumer. So as creators, we should be investing in that. We should be considering that up front when we're creating content, when we're getting ready to go live. I don't have hearing impairment where it really affects me. I do have a disability, but I still like the captions. I've always liked the captions. Even when I was little, I enjoyed reading the captions. So recently I was in a meeting and the captions were not enabled. And I had to ask a couple times and they ignored me. I at one point they're like, "We don't know." And I was just like, "How do you not know? You're running a meeting on Zoom." So it's important to know these things when you're going to be hosting, when you're going to be showing up and leading through a webinar or a presentation, and knowing what you're using, the platform you're using, and making sure you're, again, being inclusive at the beginning and being prepared. It's important. I think something else I always really want to encourage is the way our font sizes font sizes. Sometimes when we're making things, we tend to make the font small. I always go bigger, at least 28 to 32 point font to really help our visually impaired, low vision consumers. I mean, for me, it's really important. But knowing that when I'm constantly creating something in Canva, I'm always being mindful that it's not 12 point or 14 or 16, but really pushing it to at least a 28, 32, and really keeping it consistent on the wording. So those are just some things that I do and that I always want to encourage and share on how we as creators can make our content just a little bit more accessible, because there are the barriers to figuring it out. And how much money is it going to take for me to just do this one project or get through this one creation? You know how it is.
Yeah, I know how it is, and hope that you can read perfectly my GoFundMe. My GoFundMe for my computer and software for the show is still on, because like I said DeeJae earlier, I've brought the computer, but I still have a debt on it right now that I have to pay every month, and I still have the software to pay all the time. So if you can give a donation, it will really help me just bring the show in another level, to be able to buy subtitle, to pay everything that I need to put the show right. Like you can see, I try my best to write in a big font like you see there. I'm trying my best. It's not perfect yet, but I'm trying on. And yeah, I think it's very important to put some subtitle. But I'm going to give you a confession. I hate subtitle. I'm going to explain you why. I understand why it's important for other people, but I'm going to tell you why I hate subtitle on a movie or something like that. I have ADHD, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That will force me to do two things: read and
Mm-hmm.
and listen at the same time. For some time, I'm going to miss up some part of the movie because I'm trying to read and to see the action at the same time. So for me, it can be a little bit tough at the same time. But I understand that for a lot of people, it's going to help. My mother is always with the subtitle, and she doesn't have any hearing impairment. And I have to always to tell her, "Can you please take out the subtitle, or I'm not going to be able to focus on that movie." And at the same time, she's like, I'm going to put the sound very loud because I like it loud, even if I don't have any hearing impairment. Because sometimes she's just going to turn off the TV and just read it because she wants to do other things. So yeah.
I like to consume, streams and everything in so many different ways. Sometimes I can't listen to it and I'm trying to read captions because I'm somewhere where it needs to be quiet, and I need those captions to be able to watch that 2-3 minute video as I'm scrolling. So, hey, it helps. But at the same time, I understand. So I have a question for you, because
Sure.
you brought up a point. For you, your brain's trying to do two things and it's distracting the caption. So for you, you prefer to turn it off. So from what I understand, I've heard some accommodations that are good for neurodiversity is like, oh my God, my brain just is.
Take your time.
Oh my God. I don't know. I just had like a brain fart, man. I'm so sorry.
It's happening to me so much often, so don't excuse yourself. Come back to me when you remember. Don't worry about it.
I know, but I do think it's important, to understand that people consume things in different ways, and somebody may need captions and somebody may not. And I think, so reading, this is where I was going to go, especially like with ADHD. So this is kind of what's going to ask you more is, you prefer auditory consumption. You prefer listening to a podcast rather than like reading a book, right? You would prefer to listen to the book?
Oh yes, I have Audible, and I always use Audible. I can read a normal book too, but when I'm tired, it's going to be difficulty to just learn. Like, I'm giving you an example. I'm not able to read an English book. I cannot do that. but I can listen to an English book and understand it, because it takes me it takes me double the power of my brain to be able to understand the English reading.
Right. So not only are you having to deal with the ADHD, but then the language barrier as well, right? Because I know speaking Spanish, it's like you have to wait for that translation in your head before it comes out of your mouth. So your brain is really doing so much. So again, this is why it's important to talk about it and how we experience things and how we consume things to help each other. And so we can have a better understanding that what people have different preferences, and it's really based on who they are, what they're experiencing, if they have a disability or whatever. Maybe, a lot of people sometimes don't even realize you have a disability, right? So you just, whatever it is, but pay attention to how you like to consume information, and it might help you if you prefer reading or if you prefer listening, and why. There's that comfort, and it's just like we all learn, right? I think there's different ways of learning, and I know that that's something that different people talk about, right? You can learn through visual learners, and we have auditory learners, and then we have kinesthetic learners that learn through like doing stuff with their hands. So I just think it's important to just understand when we're making content that it's not one way works for everyone. And you want to diversify your content. I have another question.
Sure, go ahead. Like I said before we started, you can ask me any question that you want. I'm happy to answer.
Well, it's because you're a podcaster.
It doesn't matter. We're having a conversation, so it's supposed to go both sides, not only mine. It's going both sides,
No, well, the reason I ask is because you're a podcaster, and you've already shared that you prefer auditory listening, auditory consuming of your, whatever, a book or a blog. You'd rather have it maybe read to you. And I love those accessibility tools that do read stuff to me out loud. Love that. Sometimes I'm tired and I don't want to read either, and I'd rather just hear it. So I totally understand. But as a podcaster that's auditory, do you transcribe, or do you make your podcasts in another form?
Normally, when I do when I'm doing a podcast with no image, that I decide the subject and it's all planned, I'm going to write it in English. I'm going to make sure everything's perfect. I'm just going to write it, and I'm going to speak it on the audio as natural as I can. I copy paste it, and I put it in for people that cannot hear me, so they can read it.
Oh, okay. So, I'm just asking because I don't have an audio podcast and I don't know different podcast platforms, but it's something that I want to learn about. And I know that there's been issues with different broadcasting networks or whatever, just being for not providing a transcription on their podcast, for not including that, and that they need to start including that. So moving forward, I'm going to be saying this a lot, is how we need to be mindful and making sure that we're getting transcription, putting it through software where you can get that file and have it and save it and post it and publish it with your audio content or with your video content.
Normally, I'm talking about Buzzsprout, because this is like it's like online software where you can post a thing, and after they give you a link where you can put it everywhere, like on Spotify, anything, and you always have the option to put the entire text in it, so that can be so the people read it like an article instead of hearing it because they just can, so this is easier for me if you do a podcast yourself, you do a monologue. Of course, if it's an hour long, your text is going to be like this, maybe it's not the best idea if your podcast is more than 30 minutes,
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good suggestion. I mean, even with my live streams, they're an hour long. So, just going and finding that text from that hour-long stream and where can I put it. I don't think YouTube allows that. YouTube doesn't have a form where you can literally just attach some sort of word or text file for it to be able to be read, by screen readers or various accessibility tools, softwares. So I was just curious. I wonder, I guess, where that's going to end up going and how different platforms are going to try to make their social media easier for the creator. So it's not always pointing the finger, right? Well, I can't do it because the platform, I don't know how to, you know what I mean? There's different.
Yeah.
Some platforms make it a lot more difficult. It's true. And some platforms make it a lot more easier and they're a little bit more understanding, but those are hard to come by. So, but
yeah, that's why I'm always suggested using Buzzsprout when you want to do a podcast, because you can put your captions there, etc., etc. So you have to do it your own self. It's not like you read it, you listening to it, and you see the subtitle at the same time that the person speak. But at least there's a text, and the people that are hearing, at least they can read it. It's
yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to make the first live streaming platform that is 100% super accessible? I wonder what that would look like. You get, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking outside. Beyond the stars, beyond just what would a platform look like and how would that? Oh, Juana, thank you for that question. Listen, I got an answer for you. I've been doing this for a super long time. So I found ways to balance. You have to balance what you do, and if it's deep work, if it's something that is deep and emotional or psychological, you have to find ways to release it in order to be able to continue doing it, to keep it sustainable, right? So I think a lot of that goes back to maybe even something I talked about on one of my episodes on hobbies, and just finding those hobbies that allow us to release and connect with ourselves and our purpose to continue doing what we do. I mean, if you're doing a podcast without a true, genuine purpose, or a live stream, or running a business without that fire and that purpose and a clear mission, right? It takes organization, it takes strategy, it takes planning. There's so many components to it. So, and if you can't do it alone, again, I always talk about finding support systems, finding people that can understand what you need, how you need it. And, there are people that want to be compassionate and understanding and uplift others to get to where they want to be. So I tie it all together, what I've done and what I want to be doing. And you see this space that is so important, that needs voices like yours and voices like mine and voices like Juana's to really share our experiences, so people say, okay, we don't all learn the same, we don't all understand the same, we don't all hear the same thing when we speak, we don't all see the same thing when we're doing something. That is right perception, and that is how our bodies, our sensors, our sensories, are, you know what I'm saying? How we take it in, and everyone takes in information differently for so many different reasons in our lives. So, it's just like anything, you can't do everything one way all the time. You have to be thoughtful in what you do, and considerate of others when you're making content, when you're trying to sell something, a product, a service. Because I don't know how many times you've been in a situation where you're in a conversation or you're in a room virtually or in real life, and someone comes up to you and they're like, thank you for talking about that, because people don't understand. I have a visual impairment, or I have a hearing impairment. I wear hearing aids, or I, have this medical issue and it's really difficult. So thank you for talking about that. And it means a lot. And it's hard for them to even say that publicly. So it's a lot that lingers there, and we have to unify to really, show that our voices matter, our experiences matter, and diversity really is important.
Yeah. And what I will add to that is it's okay if when you start is not perfect, okay? Because you cannot be a professional videographer like that, have the super subject like that. The most important is the content that you're going to speak of and not how it looks. Because if I had to stop because my space is ugly, I wouldn't say anything, and that's
No, I mean, we shouldn't use that. We shouldn't talk that way to each other, and we shouldn't think that way about ourselves, because you're right. It's just important about getting started, but being cognizant, being aware of, I want to make sure that I'm trying to do this. I'm putting in the time. And if people need help, reach out, right? That's why we're here. Reach out to someone that knows about, or is learning, or is interested and passionate about digital accessibility. And, they'll help you along. I think it's such a great space for so many people that they're starting to feel really like, okay, we can start talking about this finally. So that's good. I'm glad that we're seeing more and more people. And I would love to see more streamers talking about this, having more conversations, someone else that we can have a roundtable with, a couple more people, and just have some really engaging conversations on all our experiences, and why, again, we need to consider making our content accessible and implementing those strategies immediately, because the future, I mean, it's right there. It's in front of you. So Juana brings up a great article. Can you bring that up, Melly? Thank you, Juana, for your support. She said, so she provides the Verge.com article on deaf people suing Sirius and others for inaccessibility. I mean, how many people are going to go back 3 years back to their podcast and find transcripts for that? Or are they going to hire somebody to take it and pop it through some software and transcribe it and then go ahead and add it? So there's work to be done.
Yes, a lot. And the most important is try your best, right? You do what you can. If you don't have the money to do it, you do what you can. People are going to understand. Like when I said, nobody care about the background or the sound and stuff. I think they care about the sound a little bit, but I mean,
that sounds not important, because it is. And as a podcaster, live streamer, we always are told auditory, like the audio is very important. You want clear and crisp. So that leads me to something else I can talk about, is speaking clearly, right? Speaking a little bit slower. Lord knows I talk fast. And once I get very nervous and very excited, I talk very, very fast. Plus, I'm Hispanic. Like, Hispanic people talk fast. So all these things are working against me. And my energy is like super high at that point. So I know I have to slow down. It's going to help for captions. It's going to help for clarity. It's going to help for someone with a language barrier that needs that extra time to process what you said and then formulate a response. So it is important. All these things that I don't think a lot of people think about, but we're going to keep talking about it, aren't we, Melly?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sad we don't see the emoji. We only see
emoji. Twitch emojis on to show on the stream, so I don't know why.
I don't know, but I think if you don't see it, it's 3 microphones showing one back and back. That's what it is. If you cannot see it, I'm sorry. So yeah, one is very important to have clear sound. Is the first thing that I invest in. It's my blue microphone, so I'm so happy to have it. My Yeti Blue, I brought this with my own money, everything I brought it with my own money. So I'm in debt from myself, If I had to put all the things that I brought with my own money, some people will owe me money, My show will owe me money.
I know. And you're looking for sponsorships. I know that that's something you're hoping for, and finding ways that we can partner with these organizations that really align with our values and our mission. So we're going to have to come up with a list and maybe send out some emails.
Yeah, that would be great. Yes. And at the same time, I have more and more view on my show every week. So it's not like if nobody's writing right now, if nobody's here, and there's other people that are listening afterwards. So, and that's why I always put it on YouTube as well, because I want people to be able to listening to it after. And with YouTube, what I can do is put automatic subscription. I'm going to say subscription because it's not perfect,
Well, I know, and Juana has, in previous streams when we've had these conversations, we should go back and edit the text, edit those transcriptions. Those words can get very funny. Those words can be quite off sometimes. So I understand, but it's a lot of work. Again, it goes back to that, how consuming it can be, and why creators don't do it. Why creators just kind of, it's not a priority. Yeah. So, we'll see. But there's certain things that really do need, I think, some immediate attention. And I'm glad like Zoom was able to incorporate those captions now at no fee, like not having to pay for that, because that was really, huge, especially when COVID and when everybody was on Zoom. So do you use Microsoft Teams?
I use that and Zoom too. I use both of them, but mostly Zoom, the free version, most of the time.
I mean, and this is just if you're just, I don't know, but in Teams, they have pretty good captions. I think you can adjust the size. I really like that. So I was just wondering, and if the more we talk about it, we can encourage people to say, oh, okay, I want to make sure that I'm checking captions and the software and making sure I know how to use it, or how to inform someone how to turn them on, how to increase the size, or what the software allows. So always, encouraging those conversations for sure.
Yeah. So if you had one wish for accessibility, what will you wish for? You have only one to choose on.
One wish for accessibility? That's a good question. I've never been asked that.
I'm that kind of person asking questions that no one has ever.
That it would be a priority in what we're all doing. Everyone in the virtual space, everyone, whether from developers to creators to businesses, to understand how important it is, and not to just do it because the feds are coming, or because there's a lawsuit pending, or I mean, that's shame on that. It shouldn't be like that because you're being forced to. So, and it doesn't look good as a company. It doesn't look good on your resume or your profile, your business profile, when they Google your business and it shows that you've been sued for, inaccessibility and being so uninclusive.
Yeah, and it's the same thing on the website. Your image should always add a caption, so if you put the mouse, it should be able to read something. If you don't, maybe you forgot that image. That can happen if you forgot an image or two, because you didn't think about it, you thought it was done. But if all of your image have no caption, that's because there's a problem somewhere. And it's very important that that accessibility is there, because there's a lot of people that cannot see, that are using computers anyway, and they need their machine to be able to tell what does this image mean.
Mobility, right? But I agree. Even cognitive. So I think sometimes we get carried away with the colors and the swirls and the bright lights and the flickers. And I know that also sometimes we have to kind of say, okay, I want to like up my production quality, but at the same time, I know that I don't want to overstimulate a potential viewer, because that could be harmful. So I things that I think about, and I'm like, okay, how can I work on this? So it's always, how can I encourage others to also kind of ask themselves the same question? Like, okay, if I'm putting swirls and lights and this and that, it's like triggering to the eye, to the senses. So again, it's just kind of wondering how much is too much, and just enough to be on brand and to be fun and to be you, to bring your your colors, your brand into life. But I think you should always consider those types of sensory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a little ad for you in 2 seconds, because I'm trying that.
Thank you
See if it's
for that
working for your shop. Oh,
Uh,
I'm going to put your shop
that's my
instead of your
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to put your shop in
Oh,
2
wow, thank
seconds,
you.
so people will be able to look at it. I forgot to edit the link. That's very me.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I'm
So,
just fun, and I hope that it's bringing some value, what we're
of
talking.
course, we are here to help each other, So if I can help you sell some merch, let's
Oh,
go for it.
that my merch link. Okay. I mean, I don't have too much. It's just my logo, but there's a few options there. So you know how it is. Every little bit helps support a creator. And I would love to see my branding and see some individuals that are, in it and understanding really what the mission is of my business, Silver Fox Talks. And I actually, this week, Melly, was able to pitch all of this, really go into a really high quality 5-minute pitch to my local 1 million cups. So I'm not sure if you're familiar. I know you're in Canada, but I'm not sure if 1 million cups, but it's a nonprofit, community focused organization that supports small businesses and entrepreneurs.
No,
So
we
it
don't
was,
have that. We have other stuff, but this one, no, I don't think so. But we have other stuff. But the problem again with that is I'm not a business for them. I'm just like a YouTuber, I'm nothing. But they don't realize that doing this takes time. It takes energy. After the show, I'm going to be so tired that I wouldn't want to do anything else with my day, because it's really in my head. It's really, you need to be, you know what I mean. It takes a lot of energy to do a show, and like you said, we have to do caption, we have to do we have to do accessible content and blah blah blah. We talk about that. It takes time, guys. It's a full-time job to be a creator. It's a full-time job, and the worst, you're not paid to do it. Not yet, actually.
yeah, show me the money. Show me the money.
Let's go, money. Let's go.
But I think, Melly, you make another fine point. We do this because this is something that we want to do. We're passionate about it. We don't make hardly anything. It's very hard to make money, right? But
Yeah.
really about why we're here and helping others understand why it's important, and how they can do it. Just having some, at least, takeaways, some ideas that they can say, okay, I can do that. I think I can do that. It's a good point. It's valid, right? So it just helps people, again, just maybe gain a little bit more insight and a little understanding.
Yeah, and you have no idea how $10 will change my life. If you want to donate this today, give me $10. I'm going to be able to pay a third of my restream plan. That everything helps, because for now I'm working so hard and trying to find another job to make the line to pay my bills. But what you don't realize, if I work too much, I'm gonna have to take the time to do the show is going to be harder. So it gives more problem. I need the time to create. I need the time to do a show. I need the time to find guests. I need the time, etc. I need that time, and I hope that one day I'm going to be paid for that time that I spend. And I hope that I'm giving you valuable content right now, and that you like what I'm sharing. So if you do, please donate. That will help. And I'm going to say thank you. And if you give more than $25, I'm going to send you a postcard, my own self, to say thank you if you want to.
Oh, you draw or paint? You said that you draw or paint? Hi, Alex. I love Alex. She is new. Hola, familia. I love it. Listen, last Monday I got caught saying that, and they're like, Alex says that. And I was like, yeah, I was watching her videos, and it kind of stuck. I'm not going to keep it because it's yours, but I love it. Hola, familia from Alex. Yes. Aw. Yes. Well, Molly, I mean, it's hard being a creator, an entrepreneur, or balancing these passions, what's important, that we know it's important, and we really have something that we're so excited to bring awareness to. So I understand. I mean, we're both advocates in that.
Yeah.
So, and then helping others understand the technology side, the technological side, or from a creative side, maybe extra questions that they could incorporate when they're doing their creative content, because it does take so much time. And I know we've already shared, finding ways and the considerations, and it can take somebody to say something to you after you've published it, or after, you've posted it. And then you're just like, oh, okay, teaching moment, right? And you continue to grow. You continue to get better at doing your craft, and doing it and adding different ways to continue to be more inclusive. And I think eventually your brain will just be like, okay, it becomes a lot more easier. It's just like anything we practice.
Exactly, because now it's about the 25th show that I did since May, I think. And if you see my first videos, I'm sure you're going to laugh. It was very bad, okay? But it's okay, because I was learning. You cannot be always good, right?
Yes. And that's okay. I mean, my first video is bad. Your first video is always going to be bad. Quote unquote bad. Quote unquote bad. We'll put that in quotation marks. It's only relevant. I mean, it's only a matter of perception. You may think it's bad, but I may think it's absolutely fabulous.
Thank you, Alexandria. Sorry, because I don't see really your name because of that. I was saying that I have my camera just here, so part of my screen is I don't see it. So I I was reading there. Instead, I should read your comment here. I need to add a little bit more.
Alex would be a great guest for you. You should have a chat with her.
DM me, because I have some space in February. I'm searching for guests for February right now. So if you're interested, DM me.
Okay. So I think you're going to have Alex on your show in February. I can see that happening.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that the month of January is almost done. Can you imagine I only have one show in January and it's done? Can you imagine that 1 month of 12 is over? Time flies, okay? You have no idea how it flies. So if you don't do what you dream of and what your aspiration is, you won't be able to do anything, and it's you can see I have my skate there. This is something that I want to try doing this year. It's been more than 10 years I haven't skated, and I want to try that. I'm just hoping that the snow is going to melt fast. because I'm in Canada, if you don't know, and here you don't see anything than snow right now. All the street is full of snow, so I'm just wondering how I'm going to learn that with the snow. But I'm going to figure it out and maybe find a little space in my room to do it.
That's fantastic. See a lot of snow and a lot of background, so I know it's okay. Yeah, and like the month has just flown by. The days are just slipping by. I wanted to ask you about your visions or your goals for this year. What are some of your goals?
I want to do a meetup one day in Montreal, and I hope that in summer the restriction of COVID is going to be done, so people can come in Montreal. Because I want them to see Montreal. Because I don't know if you haven't been in Canada in your life, so I want people to meet my place too. So I want to do a big meetup with people, aspirational, and so people can meet me and etc. etc. I hope that will work. I also wish to. I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, but it's something that I really want is to have my own studio in Montreal where I can invite my guests and just talk, because I don't have a lot of space here. If you've seen, I think I'm going to take a picture of my desk how it looks right now. I'm not going to share it right now, but I'm going to send one. And it's so small that I have barely place to just live on. I don't see half of my screen because of my camera. That's a problem, you know. So what I wish is to have another screen, so it's going to be easier. I want a space where I can work and I can invite people. I want to be able to at least now I know that follower is not the most important because you want the quality of the followers. But my dream it will be to have 10,000 followers by the end of the year. That will be my ultimate dreams. So at least 10 or 20 people are watching my show every time I make one. That's really what I wish for the show this week. I don't have a vision board because it changes each week, okay? That's ADHD.
Mic drop. Wait, can I have a mic drop moment? Let me see. I got a happy like no. Wait.
So like I said, no vision board for me because it always changed. I've been to Toronto, but Toronto, I don't like Toronto, to be honest. It's too much crowded. If I want to see a really crowded city, New York is way better for my taste because at least there's something to do. In Toronto, it's a little bit boring in my ideas. So come in Montreal, it's way better. Nightlife is fun. There's a lot of places where you can walk. There's nature in the city. And I really like it. So I hope to be able to all bring you in Montreal this summer.
That's so great. Listen, I remember you mentioned that on my stream. I know we talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
And this was something you really wanted for yourself. So I know it takes time planning and going through the event details and what that would look like. So build that vision and don't give up.
And money again.
Money. It could be a paid event. I don't know. You can make it a paid event. Oh my goodness, Alex, that's funny. Roasting Toronto. I'm just not northern. I'm a Floridian. I've lived in Florida my whole life for the most part, other than my military years. So yeah, I don't know anything about Toronto or Montreal. I don't know even really where they're located. I do know Vancouver's way on the west side, West Coast.
I love Vancouver. It's the best place. It's the best city. It's better than Montreal. I'm sorry I'm saying it. Yeah. I think the best city in Canada will be Vancouver, Montreal, Quebec City. Toronto is in the bay back because it's mostly because Toronto I think is too industrial compared to Montreal. There's too much like towers and stuff like that. It's, it's my own taste. You need to come to Montreal.
Okay, well, we know who to hit up when we're all in Montreal. We're all gonna Melly. Hi. Any cool conventions or conferences? Let us know.
I want to do this, but like I said, I need the money and the time to plan. Because the problem is, even if I make people pay in advance, I probably need to pay in advance for everything before. I have to pay for the location. I will have to pay for the food. I'm going to have to pay for the alcohol. I mean, in advance. So I will need sponsor for that too. So I really need sponsor, por favor. I will say that in Spanish. Let's go.
Now that is showing some diversity. I love it. I love it. English and French and Spanish and whoever else has some other languages. Oh, I love it. I mean, what other languages are in there? And do they speak in Canada that are anything
French,
else?
English.
Okay. I figured, but I'm curious. I hope you resolve the issue with the translation. I hope that that's something that maybe we can kind of continue to talk about at some point. Just, how important, because again, it goes back to accessibility and language being that, we're so international, we're global. People are talking with people across borders every day, and our reach is expanding. So really softwares and programs need to really figure out how to implement that as soon as possible and let it really be effective.
Yeah, and at the same time, I want to be able to put caption in French too, but at the same time, I will need help because it takes so much time to do it. If I could do it, it would take hours to just be able to listen a word and write it down. Even for a 1 hour show like today, it's a long time, 1 hour to do this, and it will take like 3 hours to do one show. So I haven't do it yet. You asked me what was my plan. I omit to say that I'm expecting to do a French version of this show too, with French people and French Canadian people, and do that same thing, one show a week too. So yeah.
Wow, that's fun. That's really, really great. So congratulations. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. You've shared about how long it takes to just do one episode on one show. So imagine doing another episode in a totally different language and redoing the whole process. I mean, this time with the language, it's incredible. So good luck. Good luck.
Sponsor,
good luck.
Please sponsor me, please. Not you, but I mean, if somebody's watching there and have some money to spare, think about me.
She needs some funds.
Yeah, to be able to do more.
Right.
It's been a long time. I haven't been there, but I've created a Discord. You can go ahead. It's maybe a couple of months. I haven't write anything in it, but I want to be able to just put it back and take the time to put it back. Like I said, my problem is time. I really have a problem with time because I need to work at the same time because I wish to make that my full-time job, but I cannot because I have things to pay. I have rent, I have stuff. So yeah, so I have to work.
Discord. I love the Discord, and I know so many people that have a Discord, and I thought about it at one point, like, oh, do I need a Discord? Should I have one? Build like a community? Would it be something relevant that would be useful to me? But at the same time, I thought about, oh, that's a lot of time to take the platform to take care of your community. Right? It's important. Now, I'm going to say one other thing very quickly on Discord. They don't have captions. They didn't have captions. So I just said I like 3 times. Sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Felt that concerned. Like, when are they going to include that? When are they going to add captions in their video rooms? If they have, great. I don't know. I haven't been in there in a while. It is, again, time consuming, but that's just one thing I did notice about the Discord a long time ago was that there was no captions within the video rooms. So
yeah,
another accessibility thing, but see how you go looking, like when you're using things, you want to know those what it's capable of and how, if it can accommodate different people.
Because sometimes, I'm going to be honest, sometimes you don't think about those things because you don't need them. So you have to think outside the box. Don't think about yourself. I don't need caption because I can't hear. I don't need anyone to tell me what's happening because I can see, But you have to think of the other person that are listening right now or watching you, that they are not necessarily all functional like you, like at ADHD, and even employer, they cannot understand that I'm not functioning like them. That's not how it is, and they are thinking about their own experience. In their own experience, everything's okay, but it's not exactly. It's not the reality. You have to think outside the box and think about the other person than your own self. Because I understand when you're starting something, you don't think about those things. I didn't think about that before. Then recently, that caption was important for me. It's just only for me, caption was only because they don't want to put the sound on, because they are in the working, like on LinkedIn they put caption because you want to read it instead of putting the sound.
But now, wouldn't that be like a stereotype or a stigma or something like that? Just wouldn't that be that? So, but it's because it's our own experiences, right?
Yeah.
We haven't really struggled. So this is why these conversations are so important.
Exactly. Yeah, there is. And I hope that people are going to put more caption on their videos and they are going to transcribe their text on their podcast, because it's possible to do it. And if you check on my Spotify, my thing, I didn't put any podcast for over 6 months because I had no time. And I decided to take more time to do the show, but I want to do it again and take more time. You have no idea. I was studying last session. I had school, I had university, I have a part-time job, I had my business. I have that show. I had so many things to do at the same time. I didn't know where to put my head on, so I cut some slack on the podcast, and I'm going to put it back in. And I starting writing a new text, so I hope to be able to put a new episode next week. So look at it, everybody, because
I think that's important. Taking a pause, stepping away, you can always come back to it. Do what you need to do for you. So congratulations to going back to it when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. So for you, what's your bucket list for this year? What do you expect for your own show?
Oh, for my show? Good question. I love my show, so I'm going to keep doing my show this year. I'm already booked up until April.
Wow.
I like to take my topics and really have a decent conversation, whatever that conversation's going to be, and like to just listen. So I'm going to do that. And like I was saying, let's find some sponsors. How do we find some sponsors?
I need sponsoring.
So what else? There's a few things out there that I'm working on. I want to be speaking more, public speaking, conference speaking, professional speaking. Those are just kind of some of the things that I'm interested. I'm a Toastmaster, so I really am a volunteer, and I love what I do in that leadership role. And again, bringing these same conversations everywhere I go. So I'm bringing the same conversation to our Toastmasters podcast. Where's the transcript? Can you put a transcript with my episode? This is really important to me. Can we get transcripts for the other episodes? Can we go back and incorporate those? Nobody wants to lose their hard work from. And, I think that having the text, the transcription, it really helps your stuff be found, like SEO through search engines. I think that's important, that I think if you start using this and how you look at it and using it in the perspective of this might help my podcast be found by someone quicker because that text is there, rather than just leaving the little short, what do we call that? The show thing, the show. the little paragraph you put for the podcast episode to describe what you're going to be listening to.
Description bar.
The show notes or the show, whatever. But I think, going back to, and then, you have your blog, and I know we talked about that before, but it's just the way we start looking at things and the way that we can potentially see there's benefits to it, even though it might be time consuming and it might be a little bit overwhelming, but on the back end, the return is greater than anything you could expect.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Yes, Juana, you're right. It's difficult to share. Text is easier. Yeah, I know that. And that's why I'm quite happy. If I wanted, I could use all the audio of Restream it, put it on my podcast. But I don't want to do copy pasting. I'd rather have my show, my podcast, my blog, and have multiple content for multiple people that want to absorb it, because I'm going as a computer website specialist. Google don't like copy, okay? It doesn't like when you put the same things everywhere. So do not put your sound on your Restream on your podcast, because Google will know that. So put everything on each platform, or at least each platform should have different content to share. Like Restream, in LinkedIn, this is going to disappear in after a couple of months. Nobody's going to know about it anymore. But on YouTube, people are going to see it forever if they put a research, and they are going to be able to see it again, because you put probably some keyword in it to be able that other people that are interested about that subject can see it. It's forever YouTube. That's why I prefer it for my
YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube, a search engine platform. So you want to make sure you've got as much information that's searchable on what your content you're producing.
Exactly.
Right, Maggie?
So everybody, we got over our 1 hour right now, so it's going to be time to leave you guys, because it's been a little bit longer time, and I'm happy that you've been here. I'm so grateful to have you here. So please, if you want to do a small contribution on my GoFundMe, go ahead. Please go follow DeeJae as well. So I'm going to give you the last talk, DeeJae. What do you want to say to people to end the show?
I just really appreciate everyone's support. Every time I show up, I know really that I have a mission and a purpose, and I really appreciate those that support me. And again, since we're talking about this, and this is something that I'm going to be talking a lot about this year as I move forward, is really challenging. How are individuals making their content accessible? What ways have they implemented what they're creating? And maybe we can start sharing more ideas so it's easier for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to see each other again next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You, my amazing public, I hope to see you again. Thank you so much, DeeJae, for being here today. I'm so glad I had you on my show, finally. So I hope you have a very nice day, everybody. And I hope that you're going to enjoy your weekend. So see you soon, everybody.